Hey guys, it's Jazz Plans. Welcome back to this channel. Today in this video, I'll be showing you guys my preferred settings on GoodNotes, whether that is template size, pen size, strokes, all that type of good stuff. These are just my personal preferences. Obviously, these settings differ for everyone else, but these are just what I use that really helped me in general to take neater and better notes. First things first, I'll just create a quick note for you guys and show you my templates. There's many to choose from, but I like to go for the A4 size just because it's the perfect size if you need to print out your notes. As for the paper color, I just go for the white because my writing stands out, and I also use the squared paper because it's a lot easier to write straighter lines from this, and you can always change this to the plain template after you're writing if you'd like. I'd also like to point out that I like to use a grip when I'm writing because it allows me to have better control when writing. It's also a lot more comfortable and easier to hold the pen if I didn't have it. I also add these silicone nibs to the tip of it to allow for more friction when writing because it makes it easier to control. And this is awesome when you need to reduce the noise of the taps in between writing. This will be super useful once we have in-person classes again so that people near you won't get annoyed with the tapping. So when I write my notes, I usually write the week and date of my lecture first. I write these with the brush pen and use the biggest size and adjust it to 0.66 millimeters. If you're curious of the other sizes, I set my middle brush to 0.45 millimeters and the smallest to 0.35 millimeters. Note that these are just for the brush pen, as the other pen sizes will differ, which we will get to soon. Here's an example of how I do my headers. I start off with the thickest brush size and write the week, lecture number, and date. Here are examples of the brush size comparisons in order from the most to least thickness size. I then go in with the thinnest brush, following the header and make the subheader with the lecture topic. Here are examples of how I write the rest of my notes. I keep it pretty minimal. I don't add too much color or highlights to it because it still gets the job done. I don't like to use the brush pen to write these because it would normally look too sloppy for me. Currently, I'm using the fountain pen to take notes, but a while back I was using the ball pen to write these notes. I like the look that the fountain pen creates due to the pressure sensitivity of the fountain pen. Although I know that many might not really find that pleasing, I really like it. Here's an example of how my notes look like when I was using the ball pen. Which one do you guys like better? Let me know in the comments. Okay, so now I'll be going over my settings for the fountain pen. You can play around with the tip sharpness and pressure sensitivity, but I like to keep it at the default percentage, which is 50% for both. As for the pen thickness, I set the thinnest setting to 0.35 millimeters, which is good for zooming in and writing in small details on a diagram. My standard go-to is 0.45 millimeters, which is set to my second thickness and is a perfect size for me when writing my usual notes. Lastly, the third thickness setting is set to 0.6 millimeters, which I don't really use much, but typically I use this if I'm writing on a PDF file that I downloaded. Here are examples of the fountain pen size comparisons in order from the most to least thickness size. As for my standard pen settings, you can double tap to view this. I keep draw hold on because if you're trying to draw straight lines for a shape, you can just hold while you're drawing and it'll automatically straighten it out for you. I keep the snap to other shapes on, although I'm not really sure what it does as I've tested the results both off and on and I don't really quite get it. But you can also toggle the full color on or off depending if you want to automatically fill in the shape you just drew, but normally I keep this off. So now let's move on to the eraser settings. Almost always I keep erase entire stroke on because it makes erasing a lot faster. You can erase a word or sentence in nearly one swipe. If you leave this on, you can see that you'll have more work to erase the entire word, so this can be tedious if you're in the middle of lecture trying to catch up writing. Although this could be cool if you're creating like a cool design or something, but personally I don't like to use the eraser that way. But now onto the highlights. I like to keep my highlight colors pretty light, so I went for this pastel type of look for my presets. These are all the colors from the second row to the bottom. Using darker colors would take away from whatever sentence or word you're trying to write, which is why I recommend to use lighter colors, but it's really up to you. For the third setting, I set my thickness to the max, which is 7.7 millimeters. I do this because this is the perfect size to highlight my biggest headers. For the second setting, I go for the 4.6 millimeters, which is perfect for highlighting the rest of my notes. It fits between the square boxes just how I like them, and it keeps it consistent. The thinnest setting is set to 2.3 millimeters, which again I don't really use, but it's good for when I want to fill in shapes or trace any strokes or lines that I'm doing for a graph or diagram. So now on to the next part, which is how big I zoom into my page in order to write. If you set it to the smallest size possible, it'll obviously be hard to write consistently inside the squares, as well as making it difficult to write neatly. However, if you zoom in too close, it can cause a lot of strain in your wrist since you're using more strength when creating the pen strokes, so it can get pretty uncomfortable. I like to use the zoom box, which is the very far left side of the toolbox. I set my zoom box to the lowest, which is about 5.5 columns. It automatically readjusts so that you don't have to keep moving your wrist once you reach the end of the page, so it's really useful. You can see that if I zoom in on the zoom box more, I'm taking more time to write, and overall it'll cause more strain over time, so I really recommend using the minimal zoom setting. Now, what I love about GoodNotes is how organizable you can be within the app. You can have single notes, folders, notebooks, and images all within the app. And one absolute feature I love is the ability to have multiple folders in one. Like literally folders and folders and folders and folders. Kind of like folder inception. But anyways, yeah, you can sort them by date, name, or type, whichever you prefer. These are just examples of how I use this feature. I literally have so many folders in folders. I kind of have a problem, but I love to be organized and stuff with my notes and documents, so this is perfect for me. I also love how you can favorite certain documents and remove them whenever you want. This is perfect if you want to keep track of your notebooks for the current semester and unfavorite the ones from the previous semester. And one last thing that I love is that you have the ability to open two GoodNotes documents at the same time, maybe even the same document, and view it side by side, so you can copy down notes or whatever you want to do. To wrap this up, here are just examples of the notes that I take for each subject. They're pretty simple, but I love the simplicity, and I just wanted to show you guys these to show you a combination of all of the GoodNotes essentials and sizes and templates that I've shown you guys in this video. If you enjoyed, please let me know in the comments if there's anything else that you want me to do in GoodNotes or just anything in general. Please like and subscribe if you want to see any other videos from me. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!